Jagi Road. A small place in Assam, a ghost town of broken paper mill industry, is about to come to life. The first ever global level transformation that will change our future ahead. A powerful change to be brought by a small chip, the brains of modern electronics, the semiconductor chip. Assam's semiconductor plant is actually the next best thing to happen, and I think it is one of the biggest news after the 1950 earthquake. And Assam and Northeast India is in desperate need of industrialization at this point, and it is going to generate a lot of employment in the region. To understand what a semiconductor is, just imagine that you have entered into a dark room and you want to switch on the lights. But there is no electric board or switch inside, but only a copper wire which is hanging on the wall. Even though the copper wire is carrying electricity, but you are not able to use it to light up the room. So a semiconductor chip is like an electric switch which can turn the lights on and off inside the room. Semiconductor chips are now part of our everyday life. It runs our phones, cars, and basically everything that is electronic in nature. A marvelous invention that has taken human experience to a whole new level. The manufacturing process of the semiconductor is extremely technical, and it is not very easy for people outside the engineering to understand. But like any other manufacturing material, the semiconductor chip also goes through many processes, and one such process is the wire bonding, and it is going to be in the Assam's semiconductor plant. For a wire bonding process to happen, let's take the example of this LED light bulb. For this light bulb to function, you will need wires to connect it to a battery source. The wires will then transfer electricity to the bulb. Similarly, a semiconductor chip is like the LED bulb that is connected to a circuit or battery using thin wires. These wires become a pathway for the electricity to flow between the chip and the outside world. In Assam's Jagi Road, the proposed semiconductor plant is a visionary step by Tata Electronics and will focus on wire bonding technique. But besides this, the plant will also focus on more complex technique like the integrated system packaging. Integrated system packaging is another complex technique of connecting the chip to other parts of the electronic system. To simply understand what does integrated system packaging mean, focus on the lunch box that has separate sections for different types of food. One section for rice, one for vegetables, and one for fruit. Everything you need for a meal is packed neatly into one box. So, integrated system packaging is like packing all the important parts of a device, like smartphones, where all functions like the speaker, camera, texting, torchlight, battery, etc. are packed in a single box, where no wires are required to be attached. The technology of the semiconductor has transformed over time, and integrated system packaging is now used in smartphones and some very high performance computers. But wire bonding is still used in some of the older generation of computers. Any technology which sets foot on a land transforms its economic ecosystem. A prime example is the Bangalore city, with the earliest startups launched in 1990s include Infosys, Wipro Technologies. Later, other commercial ecosystems that flourished were Flipkart, Swiggy, Quikr, Ola Cabs, Redbus, etc., and is alone contributing to almost 98% of country's exports. Whereas in West Bengal, the trend displays a negative growth, when companies like Tata etc. were driven out of the political pressures. The opportunities have remained stagnated or lowered.
We decided that we would establish the factory in Calcutta. We unfortunately got embroiled in a political battle.
We feel that it is one of the biggest economic opportunity that has arrived in the East, and we can expect the growth of a large number of skilled professionals in the region. To understand the possible economic scenario, Let's follow the example of Nobojyoti Kalita, who is an engineer, Praful Datta, who is a recent commerce graduate, Kiran Das, who runs a small cloud kitchen, Digonda Hoikia, who owns a small mini truck, and Bhupen Boro, who runs a small metal shop. Nobojyoti Kalita, who is a recent engineering graduate, is recruited in one of the quality control team of the semiconductor plant. But Praful Datta, who has recently graduated from commerce, is recruited as an administrative staff inside the plant. Now both these recruitments can be called as direct employment. However, if we follow Kiran Das, who lives about 2 km away from the plant, runs a cloud kitchen. She receives orders for breakfast and lunch almost on a daily basis. She sells one South Indian breakfast plate for about 300 and receives nearly 100 such orders, which translates her monthly income to almost 90,000. Her case becomes the prime example of indirect employment. Similarly, if we follow Digonta Hoikia, who owns a mini truck, receives a daily delivery contract of food supplies for the canteen. He earns almost 1 lakh a month, excluding the cost of fuel. His case too becomes a prime example of indirect income generation. But most importantly, when we follow the case of Bhupen Boro, who runs a metal shop, he receives daily contract of customized metal orders to be used inside the plant. Since he is skilled in such metal works, he recruits at least 10 more people to assist in his daily deliveries. His example becomes the case of employment ecosystem where he receives income from a primary source like the semiconductor plant and indirectly generates income for other 10 people. Besides this, the plant will generate at least 27,000 employment for people in Assam and Northeast by opening recruitment for maintenance staff, technicians, engineers, factory workers, etc. Overall, when we see, the ecosystem actually promotes the growth of large number of businesses like transportation, like catering, hotels, and security services likewise. So overall, the economic system can be transformed from a stagnated one to a more lively one, which can generate a large number of employment and diversification of jobs. In any emerging economy, there is always a common problem, the problem of skill. Any industry, whether manufacturing or service, requires highly skilled people to meet its objective. An absence of proper skill among youth has been the main bottleneck in the employment generation. When institutions supported by NGO and government can provide skill programs which are specifically designed to address the issues of any manufacturing or service industry, the most beneficiaries turn out to be the locals.
आज देश एक बार फिर स्किल को सम्मान दे रहा है, स्किल डेवलपमेंट पर भी उतना ही जोर दे रहा है। इस सदी को भारत की सदी बनाने के लिए बहुत जरूरी है कि भारत के युवा पढ़ाई के साथ ही स्किल में भी उतने ही दक्ष हो।
Companies actually prefer to recruit locals because it saves them time and money. And moreover, there are also less chances of identity crisis in and around the region. So skill-based education are going to play a major role in this semiconductor plant. If we are to summarize what the semiconductor plant can bring for us, it can bring new life to the economically stagnated regions of Northeast and Assam. And it can become the new destination of technology in East. It can transform lives of people by bringing new opportunities of livelihood, and it can once again take Northeast India from once conflict region to a shining light of the East. So let's be ready to welcome with all our hearts the beginning of a new era.